Hello, my friends, and welcome to a brand new episode of Discourse in Magic. My name is Jonah Babbins, and today we are talking about gigs. Booking gigs, getting gigs, finding gigs, and selling gigs. Now, if that's not your speed, then do not listen to this. But over the course of the last 2 years, I've helped about 60 magicians book lots of virtual gigs. And over the course of the past 2 months, I've now helped a couple dozen magicians, about 20 or some odd, book gigs in the real world. And I have a couple different ways that we do that, a couple different programs, but I want to walk you through the 3 biggest problems that people face when they're even starting to book gigs. Like if you're even starting to do this, you're considering doing this full time, or maybe considering even doing it part time. You've done a handful of gigs before. I want to maybe walk you through the 3 biggest things that magicians struggle with, and hopefully maybe relate to you a little bit, because I've struggled with every single one of these things, and maybe you have too. So I'll give you a little behind the scenes of what the top 3 things are that we struggle with. And of course, these are the top 3 things that we solve in the gigs program. So let's start talking about them. The first is missing authority. Now, I'm going to tell you a little story which comes from the first time I ever built my website. And I was sitting with my brother building my website, and I asked him what I should call myself. I was like, okay, I'm Jonah Babbins, I'm a magician, but after that, what am I? What do I call myself? What kind of magician for? And he said, you have done magic for lots of different things, so you should be an all-purpose magician. And at first I thought that was a good idea. I was like, wow, an all-purpose magician, that's so clever, because I could be available for anybody's event. But what started to happen when I was putting the website together is I realized that I couldn't really be an all-purpose magician. If I started to put images of me performing for kids, then there's no way that a company would consider me. And if I started putting just images of me performing at camps for teens, then I'm not really sure that children's entertainers would consider me. And same thing, if I'm wearing a suit in all my images indoors, then no one's going to want to hire me at a camp. I very quickly realized that if you are an everybody magician, if you are an all-purpose magician, like all-purpose flower, then you're a magician for nobody. Nobody's going to go to your website and say, oh my goodness, this person is perfect. They've done so many bookings just like this. And that's the first sign that I had. So here's really how I learned the second half of the authority problem. Because when I started, I thought that I could just be anybody's magician. But here was the real second half, as I started looking at all of the successful magicians that I knew. The ones I personally knew, the ones I'd heard of, the ones through a friend, in my city. And one thing that just became immediately clear is every single one of those magicians performs for one type of audience 90+% of the time. They're either a comedy club magician, they're a cruise ship magician, they're a corporate magician, they're a kids magician, they have a group, a restaurant magician. Those who succeed usually are doing magic for the same groups. And then when I tested it myself, it worked. I started first with camps, and then I've repeated that over and over again for different markets, and you can too. So what is the first big thing that people struggle with when they are booking gigs? That is missing authority. And what is the big solution? Well, there's lots of, fine details about how to do it, figuring out your pricing, figuring out what your edge and unfair advantage is, figuring out how to get very, very quick rock star marketing material. But overall, the way to really, really unlock getting bookings is not to try to be everyone's magician, but to try to first pick a specific group, a niche. I'm sure you've heard people talk about it, pick a niche, but really you want to figure out which group of people is the perfect group for you. And that's really what, finding your unfair advantage is about. Don't have time for that today. That's for, loads of coaching. But I just wanted to maybe walk you through the first little bit about the first biggest struggle, which is no authority or missing authority. That's the first struggle. The second biggest struggle that magicians have is sales discomfort. Now, I don't know if you've had this or if you just don't realize that you've had this, but not every single person is naturally inclined to say very high numbers and say risky numbers. And a lot of the times when I speak to magicians, they either don't talk to their clients on the phone, people who are just getting into this, right? They don't talk to their clients on the phone, or the other thing is they quote themselves for very, 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 very low prices because they don't want anyone to say no. And the truth is, if you quote yourself for low prices and you're afraid to have your clients say no, that you don't even want to get on a call with them because you don't want to have that conversation, then you're uncomfortable with sales. And that shows its ugly head in so many ways, and they can sense your discomfort. What is the solution? Well, the solution is to get comfortable. I know that sounds really silly, but the best way to get comfortable is to just follow a system that you know works and not make it up every single go. So follow a system that you know works. If you have somebody that can help you, great. Go learn about what a sales call looks like, the shape of a sales call. I have past podcast episodes that you can find about how to do sales calls so you can listen, but really find a system so you can be comfortable. It's like having a script, right? And I would say write your own script, but don't make it up from the beginning. Just find a system. Most sales call systems are more or less similar. They're not the same, but more or less similar. So I would say, how do you fix sales discomfort? Well, you have to be really comfortable. How do you do that? Well, you got to know what you're selling. You have to know the price that you're selling it at. You have to be confident about that. And you have to be able to sell it on the phone and know what to say and how to say it. And a system is the best way to do that. So the second biggest issue that magicians struggle with is sales discomfort. And the answer is sales comfort. You do that with putting your reps in and doing it a lot, but also you do that by maybe having a little bit of a system to play in, kind of like a script that you can use. That is the second thing. The third and the biggest thing that magicians struggle with in booking gigs is not missing authority. It is not sales discomfort. The biggest thing is the lack of leads. And here's the bottom line. When I was a kid, one of the reasons why I didn't get into magic is I thought that a magician was somebody who was so popular and so famous that people just asked him to do magic at their events. That may be what you think or thought too. And if that's the case, I will take an official moment of silence for that. Maybe there are some unique cases where that's it, but really the truth is it is show and business. You have to be good at the show, but you also have to be good at the business. And what I'm mentioning about that is you need to be putting things out. You need to be generating leads. There's no such thing as crossing your fingers and hoping that a new booking comes in. You actually have to be going out of your way and doing something. Now, there's loads of ways to do that. Some that cost money, some that don't. Some that work really well, some that don't. Some that take a lot of time, some that don't. I'm going to walk you through some of the easy big ones right now to get leads that you should be thinking about that are no brainers. But really, the big issue that magicians struggle with is not that they don't have gigs coming in, it's that they don't have leads coming in. And that means they're not actually doing anything to do that. So what could you do to get leads? Well, a million things. You could do SEO, you could do Google ads, you could do social media, you could do email outreach, you could do cold calling, you could knock on doors. There's so many different things that you could do. I could keep going endless referrals, loads of different things. I'm going to walk you through the three easiest and best, especially for people who are just getting started and trying to maybe even get to 3 to 5K a month in their business. So here are basically the three best. The first is peers and past clients, the people who already know you, like you, and trust you. That is such a great group of people to go reconnect with and book some gigs and generate leads. That's effort, things you have to do to go and find leads. That's number one. Number two is social medias. You have so many different social media channels with a variety of people who love you and support you and want to see you win. And that is a great place to generate leads. And I'm not talking you have to post every single day, make videos. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm saying it's a great place to generate leads. It works very well. And number three is email outreach. There's a lot of different ways you can get in contact with people. Email outreach is one of my favorite and one of the most effective. You collect their emails. That's one step. You send them using some really clever software and you get in touch with bulk people all at once, all in your target market, in your niche, the thing that we were talking about before. So what is the big thing that magicians struggle with? Well, they struggle with a lack of leads. What is the solution? The solution is you gotta do something, put some outward effort to go get those leads in. It's not hoping, it's not crossing your fingers, it's not that. It is actually putting some effort in. And what are the 3 easiest things that you can do right now to help you actually book some leads? Number 1, peers and past clients, your very close friends, and people who you've maybe done volunteer or some paid gigs for in the past. That's number 1. Number 2, social media, a great place to connect with people who love you and want to support you. And number 3 is email outreach. That is, there's many different systems, but it's one of my favorite systems, using software and data scraping and all that to connect with your target market. I hope this was valuable for you, especially if you are a magician who is trying to get your business started. I hope this gave you some ideas. And I'll just mention, if you are interested in working together, I have a group starting this week to help magicians get to 3 to 5K a month in magic in-person magic gigs. It could be in person, it could be virtual, if you want, but most of the people are doing it are in person. It's a 10-week program, and it is starting when you're listening to this week, or rather next week. So if you think that might be for you, below there's going to be the link to the email, info@discourseinmagic.com. Click it and send me an email with the word gigs, and I can send you more info and see if it's for you. If you listen to this, but you're actually already at 3 to 5K a month and you want to get up to 6 figures a year, then the same thing, the link below, but send me an email with the word scale. SCALE as a subject line. So gigs if you want help getting to 3 to 5K a month, and scale if you want help growing. But if you are just here for the fun, the advice, and the joy, then thank you for being here. Thank you all for being here. I hope this was valuable to you, especially going into the holiday season. I'm going to say one more weird little analogy, which is this. I don't know if you've ever played Tony Hawk or any skateboarding games on a video game system. But sometimes when you do a skateboarding trick and you do another trick and another trick, then you have this multiplier, like a 2 times multiplier or a 3 times multiplier. So now every trick you do is worth 2 times as many points or 3 times as many points. I'll tell you something. Q4, that is the last 3 months of December, is one of the best times of year for you to get bookings. I like to think about it like it's got a 2 or 3 times Tony Hawk multiplier. So if you are looking to go get bookings, now is the time, literally now, to reach out to your peers. Now is the time to go and post on social media and say who you want to connect with. Tell the world you're looking for bookings. Tell them what you're looking for. And number 3, email outreach. Go get in contact with the people in your target market. Now is such a great and juicy time. There's like a multiplier because everybody and their sister and their brother is either doing a virtual event, doing a holiday event, virtual or in person, or either they're part of a holiday event or they're doing a holiday event or something like that. So please, if you're thinking about getting bookings, now would be a really good time for you to call some friends, call in favors, whatever. The time from the 1st of October to basically the middle of December is an incredible time for entertainers. So if it's for you, go out there and get some gigs. Hope you learned something. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next Thursday. Peace.